In the brutal, unpredictable world of combat sports, there's one truth that stands taller than any champion. Arrogance, foul play, and disrespect always meet their match. The fight game has a way of humbling even the most boastful warriors, whether through a crushing knockout, an embarrassing stumble, or a swift serving of poetic justice. Over the years, we've seen countless examples of fighters who stepped into the ring or cage with their egos inflated, only to have them deflated in the most dramatic ways possible. These moments don't just entertain, they remind everyone watching that in the end, the fists, feet, and fury speak louder than trash talk. In 2019, the boxing world witnessed one of the purest examples of a proud fighter meeting an unstoppable force. Emmanuel Rodriguez and his trainer made the unwise decision to disrespect Naoya Inoue's father before their highly anticipated unification clash for the WBA and IBF bantamweight titles. Rodriguez was no pushover. He came out firing, landing crisp punches and proving in the opening round that he hadn't shown up just to survive. Inoue, known for an 88% knockout rate, kept his calm in those early minutes, absorbing the challenge without a flicker of panic. That calm, however, was simply the silence before a storm. Early in the second round, the Japanese star unleashed a devastating left hook with pinpoint precision, catching Rodriguez flush. It was as if a trapdoor had opened beneath the Puerto Rican's feet. His legs gave way before his body even hit the canvas. The Scottish crowd roared as Rodriguez somehow beat the count, but Inoue was merciless. The moment Rodriguez steadied himself, Inoue pounced again, dropping him for the second time. Still, the battered challenger refused to stay down, but that stubbornness only earned him one more trip to the floor. Inoue's third knockdown was so clean and vicious that it resembled a live execution. The referee had no choice but to wave it off, ending a fight that had turned from competitive to one-sided devastation in a matter of minutes. If there's a code in combat sports, touching gloves before the first exchange is part of it, a gesture of mutual respect before trying to take each other's heads off. But at the Cage Rage tournament, Attila Kubel threw that code straight out the window. Facing Richard Bockett, Attila turned the traditional glove touch into a cheap shot, catching his opponent and stunning both Bockett and the referee before the bout even began in earnest. The ref halted the action and sternly warned him, making it clear that this wasn't the street and that such tactics were unacceptable. But Attila's behavior only got worse. He threw multiple illegal knees to Bockett's head in the clinch, ignoring the rules and the referee's authority. When the official stepped in to break them apart, Attila refused to let go, clinging on like a man in a brawl outside a bar rather than a professional fight. The referee, realizing warnings were useless, physically dragged Attila off and even locked him in a chokehold to subdue him. It was a surreal moment, an official forced to control a fighter like a rogue animal. The chaos ended with Attila's disqualification and his unceremonious removal from the competition, a disgraceful end to his night. At Glory 2018, Harit Grigorian and Myrtle Gronhart faced off in what should have been a display of elite kickboxing skill. In their earlier meeting, Gronhart had infamously struck Grigorian from behind when his opponent's back was turned, knocking him out cold in one of the most controversial moments in kickboxing history. That time, Grigorian's teammates had stormed the ring in fury, delivering some immediate street justice to Gronhart. The backlash from fans and the press was so intense that a rematch became inevitable. When the two finally met again, Grigorian entered the ring with one goal: revenge. He kept his guard high and his focus sharper than ever, wary of Gronhart's previous cheap tricks. From the first exchange, Grigorian's punches landed with bad intentions. He dropped the former victor with brutal precision, battering him until the referee stepped in. This time, there was no sneak attack, no controversy, just a decisive and humiliating defeat for the man who once celebrated hitting an opponent from behind. In Russia's bare-knuckle scene, Zalimkin Dukov faced Ivany Kurdov in what should have been a pure, hard-hitting contest. But when one fighter lacks skill and patience, desperation often leads to dirty tactics. From the opening moments, Kurdov's sharper technique was obvious. Dukov's wild swings hit nothing but air, while Kurdov landed clean shots. Frustrated and falling behind, Dukov abandoned all strategy and started breaking the rules, trying to take Kurdov down in what was strictly a boxing contest and even striking while his opponent was on the ground. The referee issued warnings, but Dukov pushed the limits further with a blatant shot to the back of the head. That was the final straw for Kurdov. In response, he delivered a crushing, perfectly timed punch that floored Dukov and left no doubt about who the better man was. Sometimes, the humbling comes not from the rules but from raw power, and occasionally a sugar rush. At the end of the 20th century, Butterbean, the larger-than-life heavyweight known for his massive frame and thunderous punching power, faced Jackie Beard, a chiseled, confident opponent. Beard started the fight well, landing punches with ease and mocking Butterbean every time the big man missed. Between rounds, Butterbean's coach handed him an unusual pick-me-up, a shot of chocolate syrup. Fueled by sugar and pride, Butterbean charged into the next round like an angry bear, catching Beard with a monstrous right hand that sent him tumbling into the shadow realm. In one swing, the taunting stopped, replaced by the cold, quiet truth of a knockout. Bernard Hopkins is a boxing legend, a master technician, and one of the sport's sharpest trash talkers. But sometimes words come back to haunt you. Years before his retirement, Hopkins had famously declared that he would never let a white boy beat him. In 2016, at 51 years old, Hopkins stepped into the ring for what he hoped would be a triumphant farewell. Across from him stood Joe Smith Jr., a blue-collar powerhouse from Long Island with heavy hands and no fear of reputations. From the opening bell, Smith pressured Hopkins, landing to the body and head with authority. By the 8th round, Hopkins found himself backed into the ropes. Smith unleashed a vicious combination, finishing with a right hand that launched Hopkins clean through the ropes and onto the arena floor. Injured from a fall, Hopkins couldn't continue, and the fight was ruled a TKO. The once proud champion's career ended not with a victory lap, but with a painful, symbolic fall from grace. Showboating has always had a place in combat sports, but when the act overshadows the fight itself, it's a dangerous game. Ben Whitaker, known for his flashy footwork and dancing mid-fight, tried to clown his way into Liam Cameron's head. Cameron, however, wasn't impressed. He walked through the taunts, landing heavy shots that bloodied and rattled Whitaker. As the fight wore on, Whitaker's swagger vanished, replaced by desperation. The humiliation peaked when he stumbled out of the ring and refused to continue, citing injury. Though officially a draw, the moral victory belonged entirely to Cameron. In Japan, a teenage prodigy known as Yaman faced the cocky and aggressive Ashawa. Ashawa skipped the glove touch, signaling his disrespect, and immediately tried to ambush the youngster. But Yaman was ready. He dropped Ashawa with a sharp right hand early, then followed up with a punishing kick that floored him again. When Ashawa rose once more, Yaman finished the job, leaving the bully unable to stand without assistance. Muay Thai has seen its share of showmen, and Sanchai is one of its most legendary tricksters. But in 2016, another young Japanese phenom, Tenshin Nasukawa, proved that flash could be matched with firepower. Despite his boyish looks, Tenshin entered the fight with deadly intent, blitzing Sanchai's fellow Thai veteran Wolong from the start. Wolong landed a solid low kick early, but Tenshin's speed and creativity soon overwhelmed him. A flying knee stunned the crowd, but it was the spinning kick seconds later that sealed the deal, catching Wolong flush and ending the fight in spectacular fashion. In another mismatch of experience and size, PK Senchai faced Charles Francois, a towering veteran with over 50 fights. But against Senchai's 300-plus bouts, Francois might as well have been a newcomer. Senchai toyed with him, landing flashy attacks and making him miss wildly before delivering a sharp left hand that dropped the giant. When Francois got up, another left sent him down again. Senchai's final straight left Francois crumpled, mistaking the canvas for a bed, his spirit broken. Then there's Badr Hari, the self-styled bad boy of kickboxing, whose career has been a mix of brilliance and controversy. In a fiery backstage encounter with Peter Graham, tempers flared and fists flew before the fight even began. Once in the ring, the bout was pure chaos, two aggressive fighters trading heavy shots without a hint of defense. Hari looked to be gaining the upper hand in the second round, pounding Graham with heavy leather. But Graham wasn't done. In the third, he unleashed his signature Rolling Thunder spinning hook kick, catching Hari clean and dropping him in one of the sport's most shocking reversals. In the fight game, skill, power, and speed all matter, but nothing humbles arrogance faster than the sudden clarity of a knockout blow. From pre-fight disrespect to in-ring mockery, from illegal fouls to overconfidence, each of these fighters learned the same hard truth. In the ring, the mouth may start the story, but it's the fists that finish it. And when the final bell sounds, or the final punch lands, respect is either given freely or forced upon you in the most unforgettable way possible.